work permit. What that
Oh,
means is
wow.
that this work permit is open, is not limited to a particular company or a
Time. Oh, wow.
particular province.
Okay.
Your spouse can work anywhere in Canada to
Mm-hmm.
support you, while you study. And then
Mm-hmm.
your children, they come to Canada if they're still elementary to high school, is free. Canada, that is a
Mm-hmm.
beautiful, beautiful thing. You
Yes.
don't need
Can
to
say that
think
again.
about school fees. I mean, it's awesome. Or the school bus, or the school meals. All of
Mm.
these are fringe benefits you get, for just coming to study in Canada. And I think for me, one of the other beautiful thing about coming to Canada is the safe environment.
Yeah.
Canada is relatively safe. I mean, I don't know about you, but for some of us coming from Nigeria, ah, it is such a relief to
I
just be
agree with you. I agree with you.
you
Living
feel
in your house and there's no
where,
fence
your heart is not always going off
beating.
like what is the next thing or what is the next big news, like it's just
Yeah.
free. The city, that feeling of serenity, it is a beautiful place to raise your kids.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I forgot one thing. So what's the timeline for getting your admission? Let's say you apply for the school.
Okay, so for
What's the
the
timeline of getting your
school,
admission?
the,
And
the,
are
the
there monies you pay for admission? And what are the tuition like?
okay, so for the schools, now each school timeline is different.
Mhm.
It's difficult to peg it to a particular timeline, but you can say on the average. So for some school, let's say the earliest.
All right. Okay, guys. So we are here live on my YouTube channel called The Informatic Chick. So this is me, Faith, and I'm here to give you information on anything you want about migration, purpose, career, lifestyle, fun, and lots more. So thank you guys for joining in, and I really appreciate you. So today we're going to be talking about how to migrate to Canada via student route. And I have a very good friend of mine, and we've known each other for almost a decade now. She's been doing this for years, and she has helped a lot of people migrate to Canada via the student route, coming with also a work permit with their spouse and study permit for their children. So you're in the right place. So whatever you need to know, just relax. If you're not able to answer all your questions, don't worry. I'll give you her details and you can send her an email and then she'll have all the details you need. All right, so we'll go on a short break, and when we come back, we're going to meet my guest. Thank you. Welcome back from that short break. So this is me, the informative chick. You can call me Faith if you want to. So I'm here with my friend Uju, and she's live. So Uju, introduce yourself. Tell us. So what is it about this? About your okay, you're going to tell us what your consultation firm does and the services you offer, and then we'll kick it from there.
Okay, hi everyone. My name is Uju, as Faith said. I am a consultant. I'm the principal consultant for Wuumbaa Consulting. So basically, what we do is to help people with their migration, coming to study abroad, whether it's the UK, Canada, Australia. But for today, we're discussing Canada.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, that's what we do. We help you with securing your admission, help you package your visa application, and all of the work. So you get your admission and you get your study permit, and also for your dependents. For those of us that are married and you have kids, we can get a work permit for your spouse and study permit for your children. So
Okay.
basically, that's what we do.
Okay. Okay. So now, so let me be a student. I live in Kenya, Africa, somewhere in Nigeria. How do I
Okay.
start? How do I go about searching for school? Just take us on the journey. What is required to get an admission and everything. So let us know.
So I usually tell my clients that coming to study abroad starts first with a strong desire.
Hmm.
You have to first desire to, you have to first desire to come to Canada, and understand why you're coming to Canada, because that motivation is what is going to keep you through the process. Sometimes it can be tough, so you have
Yes.
to, be sure that this is what you really want. I think that's the first place to start. And when
Okay.
you do that, it's important that you understand, what school do you want? What is your course of interest? Maybe probably you have a province of interest. I usually tell people for soft landing. So if you have a family in a particular province, that might be a better place to start, so that you ensure that you already have somebody on ground who can take you through, and then you can look for a school around there. But it's important you have that desire, very key, and that you know what you want. What do you want? What is your line of interest? Then what is your background? So I have so many people come, oh, hi, can you help us? I want to work as a health professional. And then I ask, what is your background? I did history as BSc. And I'm like, okay, what is the relationship between BSc in arts, in history, and becoming a health professional? So you have to first of all know what is your interest. Go to the schools that you want, check them out check out their website, and find what is the course requirement. Do you even meet the requirement? Not just about what your friends are telling you. Oh, they pay. Some people, their motivation is, oh, which job is going to pay me the most? I just want to become a nurse. I just want to become a doctor. Are you qualified? Is that what you qualify? If not, you already failed before you applied, because you're going to apply and you're going to be turned down because you don't meet the qualification. So it's important that you understand what school, what interest, discover what the requirements are, and make sure that you meet those requirements before you start, your journey to applying to study in Canada. So those
Okay.
are like the key things that you need to know.
Okay, good. So for some people that don't have the time to search on the internet, are there organizations, firms like yours can help them? How do
Most
they
definitely,
go about it?
that's why we're here. So when you don't have the time, and you don't have the time to put proper documentation, which is very critical when it comes to securing admission, after you have gotten your interest and you meet the requirement, one of the key things is proper documentation, being able to write a good proposal to the school and all of this. So if you think you don't have that, then it is important that you look for an agent who is trusted. And that is what Wuumbaa does, where our integrity precedes us. We know that when you pay money, you're going to get value for your
Results
money.
and value. Yeah.
Exactly. So we will help you profile you first, know what you want, what is your background, and then we can recommend which of the schools, that will take you based on your background, and we'll do the proper documentation and make sure that you secure, admission with something that you're interested in and also meets, the profile of the school or the requirements of the school. So
Okay.
that's what we do. And I know that, we've helped so many people do that. So if you're interested and you don't know how to go about it or where to start, you can always reach out and Wuumbaa will be here to support you.
Okay. Okay. So some people don't, you mentioned it's always good to go where you have family members or friends. So some people that don't have, will schools give admission, hotel? Do you have contacts of schools that have accommodation for students that don't have
So
family members?
So if you don't have family, like I said, that is for soft landing. So it doesn't mean I'm in Canada. I didn't have a family member where I came to. So
Yeah.
that is for soft landing. But if you don't have a family member, that is also good and fine. So you decide, okay, based on my interest, let's say my interest is school in Ontario or offers that course. You go in there. Now there's so many options when it comes to accommodation. Most of the schools have hostels. Some have what you call homestay. So homestay arrangement is where the school have arrangement with residents, profiled residents within that community who are willing to let out maybe a room or two in their homes, students to stay. So that option always exists if you're looking for accommodation. And then for some other people, what I tell people, just go on Facebook group, just check out Facebook group. You see a lot of, or Kijiji, you see those options, people who are, offering up their homes, they're looking for someone to share apartment with. The options are available. You just have to be willing to do the work. And if you can't do the work, there are people to help you
You do the work, yeah,
to
because you
do
need
the
to
work.
verify.
Yes,
Yeah,
you have to do all
lots
of
of
those
scammers out there.
verifications. Yes. So you can start, the first place to start is from your school. I mean, check out what they have, if they got hostel, if they have homestay options. Most of the time, the school admissions team will advise you. But if you don't, and sometimes schools can be more expensive. So you want to have your own options. You want to be able to go by your budget. Your best option is to either, if you're working with an agent could help. If not, you can always, check Facebook, check out people who live in that area, and then you can, see what options are available for you.
Okay. So next, guys, I hope you're listening or and taking down notes. Don't worry. After this, if you still want some more information from our guest, I'll share her email with you. Just send me an email on the description box. I'll have her email written down there so you can mail me, and then you have her details right away. So she's in Canada, in Prince Edward Island. It's one of the Atlantic provinces, and they're very easy to come in. Canada is really supporting the Atlantic Immigration Pilot Program, and she can also help you through that route if you want to. On my next video, I'll be talking more about that. So that's a discussion for another day. Yeah, I'm resided in Nova Scotia while she's in Prince Edward Island. And so we've seen her on ground to guide you if you have questions, right? So now, what are the timeline for getting your visa? And can you come with your spouse and children? What's the best way to advise someone to come? Maybe you can use your own story so we can know.
Okay, so I think most definitely Canada gives you that option to come with your dependents, your spouse, your children, but depending on where you're coming from, in terms of timeline, different countries have different timelines. If you're coming from Nigeria, we'll always advise people to give at least 3 to 4 months for your visa application. So what that means is that if, for instance, you're planning to be in Canada this year by September this year, we're in February of 2023. So if you're planning to be here by September, you should already, start your admission application process so that, let's say, latest by March, you're done, you already have your admission, and then you can quickly, put in your visa, because sometimes processing can take quite a bit. And in some instances, like I have a case, one of my clients, I actually submitted that application on the 3rd of January this year. And as at now, his visa is out. They've asked him for his medicals. So for sometimes we get those kind of, very fast processing applications, but most of the time it takes within an average of 2 to 3 months. So you don't want to be under pressure. So the earlier the better. It's best to start early so that you can have everything, completed. You have your visa out, and then and you're ready for school. Not school is starting and you're under pressure, your visa is not out. And then in terms of your family, because we're Africa, even though Canada says you can apply with your dependents, we always, promote or advise our clients, it's best to start with you, one person. So let the first person be the foot in the door, because once you have your visa approved, that's your study permit approved, it's easier to bring dependents because the story kind of shifts, So, and then again, the other challenge is that when you're going together with your family at the same time, there is the challenge of funding. Because having dependents also require that your proof of funds will be much more. However, if you start with you, then you've crossed, and then it's easier, to now apply for the rest of the family. Yeah.
Okay, so the spouse gets a work permit, and then the kids gets to study visas.
Oh, that is the beautiful thing about coming to Canada, is that opportunity for your spouse to get an open work permit. What that means is that this work permit is open, is not limited to a particular company or a particular province. Your spouse can work anywhere in Canada to support you, while you study. And then your children, they come to Canada if they're still elementary to high school. is free in Canada. That is a beautiful, beautiful thing. You
Yes,
don't need
can
to
say that
think
again.
about school fees. I mean, it's awesome. Or the school bus, or the school meals. All of these are fringe benefits you get, for just coming to study in Canada. And I think for me, one of the other beautiful thing about coming to Canada is the safe environment.
Yeah.
Canada is relatively safe. I mean, I don't know about you, but for some of us coming from Nigeria, ah, it is such a relief to
I
just be
agree with you. I agree with you.
just
Living
get
in your house and there's no
where,
fence,
your heart is not always going up
beating.
like what is the next thing or what is the next big news? Like it's just
Yeah.
free. So the safety, that feeling of serenity. It is a beautiful place to raise your kids. Yeah.
Yeah. So I forgot one thing. So what's the timeline for getting your admission? Let's say you apply for the school.
Okay, so for
What's the
the
timeline of getting your
school,
admission? And
the,
are
the,
there monies you pay for admission? And what are the tuition like?
okay, so for the schools, now each school timeline is different. It's difficult to peg it to a particular timeline, but you can say on the average. So for some school, let's say the earliest would be 3 weeks, 1 month, but most schools could be up to 3 months to 4 months, depending. So it's always good that you put in your application early, submit all the required documents. Now, some of the documents, some people say, oh, I don't have my transcript. You need to have an unofficial transcript if you want your application processed,
Yes, I'd advise people to do that. Get one
exactly.
unofficial.
Exactly. You have to have an unofficial copy of your transcript. It will help a fast,
Track your
processing
process.
for you, So you can't peg it down. I think the key thing here is start early. Just start early, no matter what the delay, you've made provision for it, and you will still be able to, meet up with whatever your timeline is, to be in Canada. If you start early, it always works. And the fringe benefit is that for those that start early, most scholarships, most entrance scholarships are given to those, first time, or what do you call it, that the people who are very fast. The first people to apply always have a higher chance of securing an entrance scholarship to Canadian schools. So it's good to start early. Don't delay. Just be early. Start and see
Start.
how it takes you. Yeah.
Just start.
Yeah.
Okay, so now for some people that want to transition from being a student to permanent residents, how does that work?
You see, Canada makes it I don't want to use the word easy, but they've made it very accessible for everyone who has studied in Canada, who has, a level of Canadian experience to transit into becoming a permanent resident. So there are so many routes to doing that, depending on the province you are. But generally, you have like the skilled immigration route. You have, I mean, for those of us in Atlantic program, and then you have opportunities for your companies to sponsor you, which is like, yeah, so if you're working in a Canadian organization and you have a permanent job, your company can actually sponsor you to become a permanent resident of Canada.
Okay,
And
if they are listed, if they are designated employers, because I know in the
yes,
website,
yes. So that's
the
why I said you have
designated
to qualify
employers.
but most companies are. There are a few that are not. Most serious companies, have designated employers, and they can sponsor you if you want. So what I tell people, when you're negotiating, that should be one of the things you should be asking. You're looking for a job, you should be asking, does this organization sponsor their staff? Because Canada is built on immigrants.
Yeah.
And they're still looking for immigrants. So they've made, that opportunity open for people to transit. There's so many routes, health worker, there's so many routes. So once you become a student and you're in school and you're working, because you need work experience to transit, to becoming a permanent resident. But the
Right.
beautiful thing, especially for those people who are married, is that your spouse, once they start working in Canada, they can actually apply for permanent residency, maybe through the
Wow.
skilled or non-skilled program,
Yeah.
before you even finish
School.
schooling.
But you can't as a student. Your student
No,
visa has to run off before you.
you can, depending. So, for instance, express entry. some people actually, I mean, while you're a student, maybe some people already in the pool before they even, go started the study route option. So becoming a student increases your score in the pool. You're gaining some experience while you school and all of those. So some people get their PR while they're schooling. So you
Wow,
can. It
amazing.
depends on the route you choose to go and what your credentials and your profile is. Like I said, they have different things for depending on where you are. If you're a non-skilled a worker, like people who are medicine man, into construction, plumbing, there's a route for people like that. You're in the health worker and all of that. There's a route for them. And then there's the skilled worker option as well. And then for those of us in the Atlantic, we have the Atlantic program. So there's so many options. Yeah, you just need to take a look and see which one you qualify for. And then you can go for that route.
Wow, this has been so helpful. So before we round off today, you have been so helpful. I know we'll bring you back again, maybe to talk about migration properly. This is for students, right? How to come into Canada via student routes. So what are those documents that you need to have? And then how much can someone have? Like, do you have an amount aside your school fees on proof of fund? Is someone watching want to have that information
So
from you?
what I would tell someone who is thinking of coming to Canada, I think in terms of money, how much do you want to have? There is no specific amount because your school fees,
Must be there.
yes, depending on the school. In Canada, there are some courses that are way cheaper than the rest. So if you're doing medicine, for instance, that is a high course. It's a very expensive course.
Very
Not like
expensive.
someone who is doing history, you see. So, but the range, I usually tell people that you should have like for your school fees, the average cost of school fees in Canada ranges from 10,000 to 20,000 per year. 10,000 to 20,000 Canadian dollars per year, depending on the school. So if you're, whether it's a diploma, a master's, it doesn't make any difference. The cost is about the same for diploma, postgraduate, all of that. In terms of per year, you have between 10 to 20,000 Canadian dollars. And in terms of your monthly expenses.
Yeah, that's important. I think they would like to see that aside your school fees.
Yes, so for your monthly expenses, but the beautiful thing is that Canada as a student allows you to work. So
Yeah,
you
some
don't have
certain
to
hours.
exactly. And I mean, those hours are changing because I mean, recently they've allowed students to work full time. So we don't know what's going to happen
For next time.
next month exactly. So at least you know that as a student, you're guaranteed to work 20 hours a week. So that should be able to contribute to your upkeep. So what I'm trying to say is that you don't have to have all of this money together. Your school fees is not paid out all at once, but you should at least budget, this type of money for your study. And then in terms of your monthly expenses, when you put in accommodation, depending on the province
Where you're staying.
where you're staying, some provinces are cheaper than the rest.
Yeah.
But on the average, you say that you're like to get a room or a space for one person between $500 to $700 per month.
Okay.
Yeah, and then you talk about your feeding. I don't know, depends on how you eat.
Yes.
So people are consumers and others are not. So
Yeah.
it depends. So let's say an average of $1,100 every month to 1,003. An average of 1,001 to 1,003 per month for your upkeep. It could be less and it could be higher depending on what you do with your money. But on the average, that's what it should be. But what is important, what I tell people is if you've got the desire, you've got your documents,
Okay.
you have
So
some
that's
savings to start you off,
okay.
just start. Don't wait any further. Just start. And there are scholarships as well. There are scholarships. There are scholarship opportunity. That's why I said for me, desire is at the
key.
core.
Yeah.
Yes. If you
But
don't
you
have
can give up easily.
you could give up so easily. Oh, I applied once, I didn't get, and then for that I'm not. No, you have to have some thick skin if you want to come to study because I mean it's a dream you want. You have to be able to fight for it. So just start. Don't wait any longer. Look out for what the opportunities are, and then just start. I think that's the message I'll leave today is just
Start
start.
and do a lot
And
of research and
yeah,
consult people like you that can help you if you don't have time. The
definitely.
charges will not be much.
No, not at all. We're here to help.
Yes.
We're here to
Yes.
help.
So you've been more than wonderful, guys. I'm sure you've learned a lot. This is just the tip of the iceberg. So, like I said, if you want to reach out to Uju Wuumbaa Consults, just send me an email to theinformationchick@gmail.com and I'll respond to you with her details for free. I'm not charging you for that. When you talk to her, then she'll let you know what's involved. But I can assure you that it's not something that you cannot do because I've seen success stories from people I know, and so that's about it for today. Thank you for joining in and subscribe to my
Thank
YouTube
you
channel, Instagram,
for
follow us on
inviting us.
Instagram, Facebook, Twitter on The Information Chick, and we'll be right back next time. So take care. Bye.
You too there. Bye.
All right.